Hey, how's it going? My name's Steve Korn. I want to show you a little hand pattern that I've been doing for a long time, and for some reason in the last few weeks a lot of my students have been interested in it. I was explaining it to a good friend of mine the other night, and I thought if I made a video of it I could show him exactly what I was talking about. So essentially the root of this was an idea I had years ago about taking the concept of a Swiss triplet, which is making a triplet out of overlapping double strokes, and applying it to triple strokes, right? So that way, if each hand were playing a triple stroke that overlapped, then I could make a four-note grouping. Okay, so for a while I called these Swiss quartlets, even though that's kind of a misnomer because it's not really part of the Swiss drumming tradition as far as I know. But it's the same kind of concept. Okay, so essentially, if for example the right hand was going 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, you can hear that on the of the beat there's a space, right? 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, okay? That's where I'm going to start my left hand three-note group, okay? So this is going to go 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E and, 4 E and, 1 E and, 2 E and, 3 E, 4 E, okay? So you can see how they're overlapping, and together they make one four-note pattern, but they're comprised of two overlapping groups of three-note strokes, okay? So that's the basic idea. Okay. Now, where they start to get interesting to me is when I start playing with the spacing of the notes a little bit. So instead of playing the notes that are together in both hands, I'll start to maybe pull my right hand back just a little bit so that it falls behind my left hand, and then I get sort of a 30-second note pattern happening in between there. I'm going to start out with them together. And if I pull my right hand back a little bit, I get that little kind of burble in the middle of it, right? Okay. Now obviously you can permutate this rhythm in a variety of ways. Right now we're going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and having this starting the beat. You could go 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and have this start on the E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. Right, so you can move it through all 4 points. You can even make it so that your left hand does not start in the hole. It could start on one of the notes that your right hand is already playing. So there's all kinds of different possibilities for this. All right, in the next video I'm going to show you some cool ways to apply that to the drum set. Okay, so now we want to apply this to the drum set in a cool way. Probably the first way I've used this has been with samba patterns. And very simply, you can play just a standard, run-of-the-mill kind of samba. And fit that left-hand three-note grouping into the hole that my cymbal's leaving. More interesting than that, though, I think, is using it to get a more sort of traditional samba sound, more of a kind of a carnival sound. And the way I do it, and the way I kind of happened upon it, was that I was playing a three-note grouping with my left hand, and then I was just playing eighth notes between the high tom, snare drum, and the floor tom, back and forth, making the high and low surdo patterns, right? So essentially I was getting something like this. I figured, hey, why don't I try to throw these extra notes in that I'm playing with my right hand? And the result was kind of cool because it suddenly sounded like a bunch of guys playing a snare drum, right? Or a bunch of guys like an entire samba school kind of thing marching down the street. So essentially I'm doing the same pattern I was just doing, but now I'm going to go, let me think. basic idea. Hopefully this makes sense. It's this pattern. Using that technique of letting my hands fall back apart a little bit to get those 30-second notes in the middle. Now I was trying to think of a name for this, and I think Dah-Blurba-Dah makes sense, right? Because it kind of goes Dah-Blurba-Dah, Dah-Blurba-Dah, Dah-Blurba-Dah.